quick note before we get started. There were no tears shed during the making of this video. Kylan had snacks on deck, juice on ice, and was able to watch his favorite YouTube videos the whole time. Hey, my beautiful people. This is Ashante Michelle, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about Kylan's hair care routine. If you watched my previous video, the Getting to Know Me Q&A, you'll know that I have 3 sons. Kylan is my baby boy. So if you want to see how I maintain this vein, just keep watching. So here are a few things that I use when doing Kylan's hair. Some water, edge control, moisturizer. Yes, I still use Blue Magic, some rubber bands, and of course a comb. Okay, so what I did off camera was take his previous braids down and washed his hair. I washed his hair off camera because Kylan still does not like to get his hair washed. So we have our ups and downs during our wash day routine. But I was able to snap a few pictures, which were the pictures that you saw at the beginning of the video, in between the good times. So we had a mixture of emotions. He was happy, he was frustrated, he was over it, but we finally got it done. Okay, right here you can see that I am making a part down the middle of Kylan's head. Usually Kylan waits until the end of the hairstyle to start pulling away and acting up, but he started immediately this time. I think he was just tired and ready to get up and play, but it did take me quite some time to get this part done, but eventually we did get it done. Look at him, trying to tell me to do what he should be doing. Turn around. Anyway, I finally got to the end of this part. Y'all, it took forever to do this part because he would not be still. But as you can see, we did end up with a very nice straight part down the middle. So right here you can see that I'm misting his hair so that I can loosen up those curls. Kylan has very tight coils, and if you don't spray it before you start combing, oh, you will have an unhappy camper. Usually when I'm doing Kylan's hair, I braid his hair going towards the back of his head. So it'll be in some type of design, but usually the braids are going towards the back of his head. For this particular style, I was trying something new, but honestly, it did not turn out the way that I planned. It still ended up being a cute style that I'm going to let him wear for probably a good 2 to 3 weeks, and then we'll start back from the drawing board. When I'm doing Kylan's hair, I usually like to do as much parting as I can before I start braiding, because as you can see, he keeps his hands in his head. I try to hold hair out of the way by using rubber bands, but he takes the rubber bands out during the styling process, and it's just a lot. So I try to get as much parting done so that I can just go through, detangle, and braid. Throughout this video, you'll see me spraying Kylan's hair down with the water. In that water bottle, I have water and leave-in conditioner. It just helps to loosen up his curls and make it easier to comb through. I really like this moisturizer here by Dove. It's made for our natural babies, and the leave-in conditioner and moisturizer are really good in Kylan's hair. It makes his hair feel like butter, like I can comb straight through it, usually after I apply that leave-in conditioner. And this is my first time getting the moisturizer. It works really well in his hair. So as I said before, I do like to go through and just do all of my parting first, so that I can make sure that I have an even amount of hair in each section, and this just helps the process move a lot faster for me. And while I'm parting, I do like to go ahead and detangle each section also, and just put it in a small ponytail. That way when I go back, all I have to do is moisturize and put oil in it and just braid it up. When I tell y'all, Kylan put up a fight during this parting process. He was not feeling it at all. He kept his hands in his head, and every time I go back and look at some of the parts of this video, it just looked like we were literally slap boxing through this process. But eventually towards the end, he did settle down, and him settling down made it a lot easier for me to finish braiding his hair. Another thing that I usually do with Kylan when I'm doing his hair is, after I wash his hair, I let it stay out of the braids for maybe 2 to 3 days before I braid it again. I just like to give his hair a break from the braids. It's a lot easier if I braid it right after washing because his curls are loose, it's already detangled and easy to comb through. But I usually wait a few days, and this is why his hair is tangled up. His curls have drawn up throughout those few days, and I just have to go back and detangle again. So it makes the process a little longer, but I do prefer to give him a break from the braids for a little while. Now that I finally got that side parted, I started to go back and moisturize. I add some of the Blue Magic to his scalp and a little bit to his hair, just to add that oil in it and to seal in that moisture. And then I put a little bit of the edge control on the hair before I start to braid. That just holds the hairs in place and makes it look a lot more neater. Kylan is usually fine when I actually start to braid his hair, except when I get to like maybe some sensitive areas in his head. Usually at the top is where I think it's kind of sensitive, so I have to really lighten up my grip right in that area. But we don't have too much trouble once I actually begin to braid. If it hurts him, he will jerk his head out of my hand, and that lets me know that I just need to ease up a little and to be a lot more gentle with his head. But yeah, usually he does pretty good when I actually start braiding. There are a few things that I usually do to keep Kylan still while I braid his hair. And the main thing is that I put him in the high chair. He doesn't sit in a high chair to eat or anything else, but when I do his hair, I put him in his high chair so that he's sitting in one spot. Also, we like to put snacks on his tray. Snacks and other things to do. So you may see candy, you may see fruit. He loves apples and oranges. As you can see, there's a remote there to my TV so he can watch his YouTube videos. He's not going to eat all of the candy. He really just wanted the sucker. So I have a lot of options for him so that he can be still, and it just keeps him occupied and keeps his mind off of the fact that I'm actually doing his hair. If I just sit him in the high chair without putting anything on the tray, he would try to climb out. So as long as we have something for him to eat, something for him to do, he likes to play on his tablet while he's sitting there. He'll laugh and play with his brothers if they're in front of him. But we just like to keep him busy while I do his hair so that he's not trying to jump out of the high chair. So as you can see, he is pretty content at this point. He has a sucker in his hand, he has some Sour Patch if he wants it, and he has his little people in the remote. I've already detangled his hair, so I'm just going through and braiding. This process goes by a lot quicker because I went ahead and parted beforehand. So I've gotten to the back of his head, and this is another area for Kylan that seems to be kind of sensitive. So it's the top of his head and the back of his head is usually when he starts to push my hands away as if I'm hurting him. So the back did not turn out the way that I wanted it to turn out, but because I didn't want to put him through me taking the braider loose again and re-braiding it, I just went ahead and left it as it was. After I finished braiding this side of his head, I did give him a break so that he can kind of get up, stretch, run around a little bit, and maybe once I put him back in the high chair, he would kind of chill out and just let me finish the other side. So that may be why he was a lot more content with me doing the other side. but he did get a break.
Don't rub it all, baby.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's dirty.
It's dirty.
One thing Kylan cannot stand to do is get his hands dirty. He does not like dirty hands, and he does not want you to have dirty hands either.
Dirty.
It's okay. It's okay.
Dirty.
It's dirty. Yes. It's okay.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Keep it.
Wash your hands.
Okay, mommy, wash your hands. Okay.
The fact that I had edge control on my hands and it got on his hands bothered him a lot. Now the first side is finally done and he was able to take a break. On to the next side. Once again, when I started to part his hair, Kylan started to fight. He did not want me back in his head. He had just gotten back in the high chair from a little break and he wasn't feeling it. So he started putting his hands in his head. As you can see, he's throwing his head from side to side, trying to get me to let go. And it just made it a little bit harder for me to make those 4 sections, but eventually we got it done. Here I am showing you those 4 completed parted sections. It took me a little while to get it done, but not as long as it did on the first side. So that's a plus. I didn't detangle these sections beforehand like I did the first side, so that's what I'm doing now.
Are you done?
Almost done. Almost done, okay? Kylan surprises me every day with his choice of words. He is starting to talk a lot more now, and for him to ask me, was I done? But to say, yo, are you done? It surprised me. Kind of cute, kind of funny, but it definitely surprised me. So here I'm moisturizing again. I'm adding the Blue Magic to his scalp and his hair. I am adding the edge control to his hair, and I'm parting those little sections off before I begin to braid. I am a firm believer that you should go into braided styles and protected styles, both boys, girls, men, and women, with well moisturized hair. That way you are preventing breakage and you're keeping your hair healthy while it's in that protected style. If you have toddlers, you may know a little bit about these little people. They are literally called little people. Kylan has a billion little people at home, and he thinks that every time we go to the store, we're supposed to buy another little person. These little people are literally taking over my house, and he has to take them everywhere he goes. But this is just him showing you all his little people.
Why can't be yet?
My baby is really growing up on me. He used to watch Mickey Mouse all the time, and that's what just popped up on the screen. But he didn't want to watch it this time, and he was asking me if he could watch something else. So for the rest of this style, Kylan was pretty chill. He didn't put up much of a fight, and I was able to finish the rest of his hair pretty quickly. Here we are on the last braid. Praise the Lord, because this boy gave me a run for my money today. He is a little excited himself too, because I did let him know that we were almost done so that he'll sit still and let me finish this braid. Even though the style didn't turn out exactly how I planned, it was still pretty cute to me. So here are the results.
So see you later. So see you later.
Bye.